It's about us.
It's about the way we relax.
It's about the way we have fun.
It's about the way we've been entertained since we were kids.
It's about the people that make us laugh, jump,
and even scream sometimes.
Sometimes. It's about our role model.
TTF.
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 Let's talk about them.
Let's talk about them. Certified.
We don't choose where we are born. So it's never a limitation to how far we can grow in life. These were the beautiful words from Beautiful Nubia from last week's episode. With that, I welcome you to today's episode of The True Fan.
Talk about these core values that were taught to me by my grandmother, by my parents, by the people I grew up with. And so I can't play something, anything else. My music is so honest because it reflects everything about me. It reflects where I was born. I sing in English and Yoruba, for example. And if I could speak another language, I'll speak in those languages too. I can only speak English and Yoruba. So I use those two languages in my music. It is not I'm not trying to preserve a language or try to promote a language. This is not the idea, because some people think, oh, Beautiful Nubia is a culture activist or something. No, the cultural activism part of my music is an accident. I didn't set out to do that. I was brought up to believe that, wherever you are born, you didn't choose to be born there. So you make the most of it. I mean, also, on another level though, the other inspiration, which is like the more physical one, is from everyday life. I'm very sensitive to the struggles that people go through in their everyday life. When I see my fellow man on the street and he's hustling to make a living, or he's doing everything to make sure they can feed his children, these things touch me. If I see a woman selling oranges and she's got 20 oranges in a basket and that's what she's got, and she's got 3 children by her side, those things touch me. I do not like to see people go through hardship. And so, I'm inspired by what I see too, but the original inspiration is hard to explain because that one is a natural gift.
People think music is easy, but music, I say, is a very hard job. I'm not trying to scare the new people that are coming, I'm not trying to scare anybody, but music is a very strong craft that it has a tiny line between doing rubbish and doing good thing. You understand? So that's why I will forever be grateful to those that made a landmark for us, the younger generation, from the Fela Anikulapo to Kuti, King Sunny Ade, Evangelist Evidence Obey, and to those that have passed on, So the Beautiful Nubias, like I just mentioned, Lagbaja, Jesse King Buga, so many of them, they've done a great thing. And coming to the hip-hop scene, Two-Face Idibia, The Banj, P-Square, Nice, a lot of people, they've done quite good for themselves and the country at large. So I think we should just embrace good music, and before you go into the booth, know what you want to sell. Most of the time, inspiration comes anywhere, you understand? It's about your happenings around.
Talking about Beautiful Nubia, I would say Beautiful Nubia is into folk songs. Back in those days when we were young, children, they would sit us down under the moonlight, tell us stories, some songs.
Songs come in 2 different ways. Some songs come full, like a song like 7 Lives. In my journey through the world, over land and overseas, I see different cultures. I wrote that song just at once. The melody, the words, everything came once. I was a student at the University of Ibadan, that was 1989 or so, and I was walking from my hall from the gate to my hall of residence. And this song, it was a very cool evening, leaves were blowing, I still remember it. It was very peaceful, and this whole song came to me just like that. And it came with that whole 7 goats, 7 beats, 7 cats. People ask me, what does it mean? I don't know. But a song came to me, and I wrote the song down that evening. Now, sometimes I do that. You have to write it down immediately. And sometimes a song comes to me, it's there. Something like that comes, it's the verse. You get a verse, it's huge. You put that verse down. You try to forget about it because, at that moment you cannot finish that song because it's too heavy for you to finish at that time. You go away. A few weeks later, the next verse comes. And that's how sometimes I build it. Sometimes it's just a melody, a melody like, let me see. I carried a song like What a Feeling. that came much later. The first part of that song that I wrote was Ara eba mi boro kan wo Omo oniwa tutu yi o. That I wrote that, you will not believe, in 1985. And I was a final year student at high school, you know, or something like that. I was, but I wrote that a long time ago. And then it took me another 10 years before I wrote the English part. Oh, what a feeling. Because I wrote the Yoruba part, it was just sitting in my book, it was just there. My favorite song? I don't have, I mean, they're all there. I don't have favorites. I mean, we have albums that are out there, songs are out there. I'm already thinking of the next album. Where people are talking about the songs that are in the market, I have new songs in my head already.
Beautiful Nubia has done so well for himself and the Nollywood industry, which is the film industry, because I think his song was featured on the popular veteran producer's film. I think The Narrow Path by Tunde Kelani.
So whenever I'm called upon to either to feature in a movie or to provide a sound, like a theme song or a soundtrack, I'm always interested, as long as the script meets, you know, my standard. As long as the theme of the movie is something that I like, then I will do it. I mean, I did that Narrow Path for Mainframe. I did Boju Boju for Demola Remo in Ibadan, and there have been a few other things. I did Oga for the Catholic Sisters quite some years ago, like 10 or 11 years ago. Because I used to call myself in a banker, that was years ago. And then when I was going to play music, I decided to call my company that name. So we registered it, and then we started using that name. And that name is what we now use. You see all our CDs says in a banker music. And when we started this festival, it became an American Music Festival. The focus of this festival is not just to celebrate music, you know, it's also to discover new talent. To run a festival like that brings together a lot of legendary artists and established and emerging artists, it's cost intensive. But we've been doing it since 2010, you know, and it's not just in one place. We do it in Ibadan, Lagos, Ife, Osogbo. So, you know, this festival is not something that is going to end soon. We are not. When we started it, we said it will go on forever, and this is the plan to keep going. It's not just about me, even though it's called Eniobanke Music Festival. But Eniobanke is the name that I chose. It's not really me, right? It's a name of a business, but it's also a very deep name. It's a very spiritual name.
I think Beautiful Nubia is a wonderful person. He's a businessman. He's a vet doctor.
I always like to remind people that I was a successful vet before I became a musician. So money wasn't the reason I came into music.
I think Beautiful Nubia is a good ambassador of Nigeria. And his dressing too in his music portrays the culture of Nigeria. So I think with his dressing and his music, he's a good ambassador.
I was born in Ibadan. My grandmother was an Ibadan woman, and I lived with her for many years. And a lot of the initial songs, you know, like my initial submersion in Yoruba culture was through that woman. But the woman just didn't teach me Yoruba culture. She taught me the culture of being a human being.
I don't really know so much about him, but I know he's a Yoruba man. I think he's from Oyo, Oshun or something. I don't really know so much about him, but I love his music. His music is all I know.
I think he's from Ogun State. Maybe I'm not right, but I want to think he's from Abeokuta.
I was born in Ibadan. My father is from Ile-Ife. My mother is from Abeokuta. So it's one Egba woman and an Ife man. But my mother also was partly from Ibadan, because our mother was from Ibadan. So I was born in Ibadan. My grandmother was an Ibadan woman, and I lived with her for many years.
Da, 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 da.
Okay guys, that's it from Beautiful Nubia. I hope you had fun because I did too and learned a thing or two. My name is Ufoma Idebe, and don't forget to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube shown on your screen right now. This is Straight from the Heart. Ciao.
Music is a very strong craft that needs to be, after discovering, you need to develop. When you develop, you must be able to know how to market it, how to sell it. And I think Beautiful Nubia has been able to transcend all those level of his career. You understand? He discovered his career, he developed it, and he has been able to put it out there. And to his credit, people still love him. You understand? Those are songs, I wouldn't have known it if someone like Beautiful Nubia hadn't done music. You understand? If he had done something else, maybe such a song wouldn't have emerged in the first place. So Beautiful Nubia is a very fantastic phenomenon, and he's a pioneer of his own world, and he holds a strong world, you understand, in the music industry.
To encourage him, he should keep it up, he should not derail, he should continue to be himself, be original, not artificial.
I thank all those who keep buying our music, those who, but I hope you start asking and pushing that artists in this country start to make money from their CDs, because we don't really make any money from those CDs. But for me, it's important that people get our music, whether we make money or not, because the reason why I came to music wasn't to make money. I came into music to use a gift that I got naturally, to use that gift to enrich my society. And with the evidence I'm getting now, the response from people, the feedback, the emails I get every day, from the texts and the phone calls, I know that we are reaching people, and I know that this music is making an impact on lives. And I encourage you to keep listening and to keep buying it and to keep coming out to the shows. We'll see you around.